Hi, welcome back student. Today we are introducing a new topic from English, that is everything I need to know I learnt in the forest. So let me tell you, this is quite important in your exam point of view, and more than that, to understand and humanity point of view as well, because we can't just everything study from exam point of view. Also I should tell you guys, because even keeping exam in mind, so this has 6 marks of questions. Could be 1 mark question, 4 marks or 6 mark questions. So that's why it's very important to understand. So also what I've heard feedback from the students, generally this is quite difficult is what they feel. It's a general notion, but to be frank, it is not as difficult as one thinks, because it's not like a story or anything. This is a literary essay. So in this essay, the author that we're going to talk about, Vandana Shiva, she takes us through the journey of her life and what all she has done in order to preserve, protect the nature, biodiversity, sustainability. All that is what we're going to discuss about it. Yeah, you might come across certain terms and words that you haven't heard, are quite difficult, but once we understand the meanings and understand the context, it should not be that difficult. All right, so let us remove that from our mind. So since though it is essay that it is difficult, you're not going to study or focus on this, and you're going to skip these questions in the exam. That is what I've heard from students telling, that they always tell that they're going to skip the question, any question that comes from this chapter, they're going to skip and go to the other one. I don't want you to do it, because this is only in your mind. Once you remove that, it is as easy as any other topics, if you understand. All right, so like the title itself says, everything I need to know I learnt in the forest. So we're going to talk a lot about forestry, preservation of nature, biodiversity. That is what this essay deals with. So to go further, before we go further, let's understand the brief information about Vandana Shiva, the author. Alright, I'm not sure if you have heard her name, but she's an environmentalist, and also she's been acknowledged with so many awards, which is equivalent to even Nobel, what the introduction of her says. So let's see. Born in 1952, wrote this article from the issue titled "What Would Nature Do?" By the way, this entire essay is extraction from 2 different articles. So one is "What Would Nature Do?" So it was published in Yes magazine. So we have talked about in the previous year S magazine. This is quite well-known magazine. So she wrote this essay, "What Would Nature Do?" She is an internationally renowned activist for biodiversity and against corporate globalization. So again, this is a new word. So what these days corporates doing, actually they would sell these seeds for higher price. So the consequences of this is why we see a lot of suicides of the farmers. So she was against corporate globalization too, and we will further see in his essay how she fought against it. And the author of The Stolen Harvest, the hijacking of the global food supply, Earth democracy, this is again a very important term. These key points you should make note of, because when you write your answers in the essay, because these are the points that you need to highlight. And also we will go on discussing about what these terms mean also. Okay, and sustainability and peace, soil not oil, and staying alive. The last section of this essay was adapted from Vandana Shiva's Forest and Freedom, which was published in 2011. Edition of Resurgence magazine. Vandana Shiva is S contributing editor. Apart from being author, she is also editor in S magazine. So this is a brief introduction about Vandana Shiva. The next slide we're going to talk about what all she talks in this essay. In this essay, Vandana Shiva first tells us how she learnt about environmentalism from the uneducated women of Garhwal, Himalaya. So this is very important. So she learnt environmentalism from uneducated women. The whole notion of we can only learn from educated ones. She breaks that stereotypical nation, and she says she learnt it from uneducated women. That's a very interesting point. All right, and how these uneducated women also began this protest and been successful in order to preserve the nature at the Himalayan region. Also we're going to learn in this essay. While the government officials and men were cutting down trees for logs, the women showed them that trees and forests were living things and we need to live with them. So this is what we're going to talk explicitly in the essay. So what they believe, these uneducated women, is everything has life, and you cannot destroy them without destroying your own self. So that is what she's going to talk about. And this thought has come from the uneducated women, so-called uneducated women. So we could call them illiterates, not uneducated, because they have such education about the nature. That's very important. Later, Vandana Shiva learnt all the major ideals of good life from the forest. They are diversity of life forms and the need to accept diversity as a principle of life. This is very important again, because we need to accept it and adopt. So diversity is the principle of life. When we talk about diversity, again, we always talk about India as a country, why it is well known for diversity. Unity in diversity is what we always talk about when we talk about country as in India all over the world, right? Where the diversity, we all know this, we heard this term before. Diversity is where multicultural, multi-religious people, multi-race people living together in harmony and peace. So that is as far as human being is concerned. How the diversity applies to nature, also we are going to look at it in this essay. Earth is our mother and not just raw materials to be exploited. We need to live in harmony with nature. So as we all know, and this is quite relevant to today's crisis, whatever we have done to nature, so it is also part of a reaction, you could say, today. What the world is going through this crisis, it could be the result of this. And also how we have been exploiting for our greed. The Mother Earth is also the consequences today you and I, we are all facing. That also we are going to discuss. How it has to be respected, how it has to be conserved, and also if our previous generation hadn't given much thought about it, and probably would not be living a life that we are living, and we should be thankful for them. And it is the same thing that we need to think about our future generation. Today, if we don't take the responsibility of conserving nature, preserving nature, then our future generation will suffer more. So earth democracy is a new word. So we already know the meaning of democracy. So what is earth democracy? So how do you tweak that term, in association with earth is also we need to. Respecting the freedom of all species of life to evolve and live together. So this is again, it is not just, this place is not just for humans, it's also for all the species, and everybody has equal right and space to live in this earth. So that is also we are going to, and we are to live together in harmony and peace. An Indian tradition to ecology is recognized by Tagore. The culture of the forest is the true Indian culture. Yeah, also India is well talked about its culture, its ancient culture. So again, it's also ecology, how we respect it, as in it is part of our Indian culture. If you see how we always been respected nature, many of our tribes actually even today worship nature as a god. Right, even some of us you see worshipping on certain occasions for tree, they're doing the pujas and all that. So that is our culture. That is very strongly, deeply rooted in our cultural system. That is what Tagore is talking about. We are also going to read some extracts from the essay Tagore as well in this lesson. Thus, Vandana Shiva says that the forest teaches the value of diversity, freedom and coexistence. Very important. So this is what, how do we live in diversity with freedom and harmony also. We are going to learn from this essay, and that is new term, that's biodiversity. All right. So when I talk about this, when we're going to talk all these things in the essay, the first thing, the whole idea is one has to develop empathy towards the nature and start respecting all the other species. When I say species, even including trees, plants, everything. So that's the whole idea. That is what she's trying to instill in everybody, and that is what she has learnt through her journey. So this is what we are going to look at it explicitly and discuss each and every term in this essay. All right. So this is about the brief about the essay, and also a brief about the author. All right. So now we have come across terms like earth democracy, diversity, freedom, coexistence, all that. So I want you to reflect on these terms, maybe do some research online and come up with the explanation for your better understanding. Because the more you understand these terms, the better you understand the essay itself. All right. Okay, so now we will start our journey. Also, before we begin the journey of us, also understand that how childhood influence so much in your growing up days and whatever you take up and do. Because here also she talks and emphasizes more about our childhood, because that had a great influence in achieving whatever she has done. That is why she talks about her childhood and how it has impacted. When I say childhood, and also our parents are greatest influence, and that will impact in whatever we do when we get older. So that is what she's going to talk about. My ecological journey started in the forest of the Himalaya. My father was a forest conservator and my mother became a farmer after fleeing the tragic partition of India and Pakistan. So I'm sure that you have heard the tragedy of Indian Pakistan partition, where many people had to flee. Many people, millions have lost lives, have lost homes, become refugee, and her family is one of those. That is when they came and settled in Himalaya. That is where she spent her childhood, and that's where she was born. And now you understand, and whatever she has achieved in the field of environment, what impact it had her childhood, because she grew up in Himalayan region. So as Himalaya, we already know that it is the land of so many species and rich nature, everything, right? Yeah. Ecosystem. It is from the Himalayan forest and ecosystems that I learned most of what I know about ecology. The songs and poems our mother composed for us were about trees, forest, and India's forest civilization. So she grew up listening to the poems which those mothers used to write, those folk songs. Even today, if you ask your grandparents, they would give you some verses about folk songs and all that. They're mostly about nature. They praise nature because they understood the value of nature and trees, and they knew that they could survive and sustain only because of that. But as we evolved, we became more greedy and we started exploiting and cutting trees all over, and that's the result today why we are suffering so much and facing all this crisis. All right, but those people, the older generation, were quite so responsible, and that is why we are enjoying the luxury that what we are enjoying today, or the suffering. Both comes with their own it has its own perks, by the way. Okay, so these songs and the environment she was brought up, and her father himself was a forest conservator. All this had such a huge impact on her. That is why she talks about the importance of childhood and how it will impact your life. And she should be really grateful and thankful for our childhood and our support from parents and everything. Now let's how it impacted, how your journey ecology started and all that. My involvement in the contemporary ecology movement began with Chipko. So I'm sure you've heard this word Chipko movement from your school days. So I would have asked you questions and taken your responses. Chipko movement, a non-violent response to the large-scale deforestation that was taking place in the Himalayan regions. So you would have heard it, how they used to, the bunch of women used to go and hug the trees, and they would tell them, you cut me first before you cutting the trees. Because those are the women she referred as uneducated women, and those are the women we started this movement, and which had a huge impact and helped them to form a committee and conserve the forest and the nature in Himalayan region those days. Otherwise, these people just went on exploiting barbarically. But those uneducated women understand. Now I would have asked you also a question, why do you think these women came forward and they felt it was so important to protect these trees, and why not men? So you need to ask this question. So there is also a explanation in this essay why women came forward and why women were more affected than the men. That's why they've started this movement, and she became part of the movement later. So to clarify better, this is what Chipko movement. Her journey started with Chipko movement. All right. Going further. In the 1970s, a peasant women from my region in the Garhwal Himalaya had come out in defense of forest. So remember this year, because you would be asked in 1 mark, and also the region, Himalayan region, Garhwal. This place and this year you need to remember, because you would be asked for 1 mark. So these women, peasant women, is like farmers. They would come out in defense of this forest, because there is a large scale deforestation, cutting trees for logs were taken place during that time in 70s. Let's say this is almost about 50 years ago the journey started, right? For now, logging had led to landslide and floods. If you go to suppose if you had got an opportunity to travel to Himalayan region, you would understand there is constant landslide during especially monsoon. It all happened because of the cutting trees, because that holds the land together, the soil together strongly. But if you cut trees, it loses the potency and the strength of the land, and the landslide occurs. Landslide and the scarcity of water, fodder and fuel. So this is how it was affected, and these basic necessities were so important for women, because women are in charge of a house and they have to take care of all this thing. But if it is not available easily, and they're the most affected ones, so that's why women came out in the defense of the forest, because they knew what all they had to go through if they do not save these trees. Since women provide these basic needs, the scarcity meant longer works for collecting waters and firewood, and heavier burden for them. You know that we did talk about it in the previous year in the poem, how women used to walk long miles to fetch water. If it is not available, then it is they are the ones who are suffering the most compared to men in the family. That is why they wanted to save this tree, because they knew the value of forest and the nature, because otherwise they would have to go fetch even the wood to cook. They're the ones who's taking charge of the kitchen. They're the ones who has to look after the child and husband and feed them properly. If water is not there, then they have to walk. So that is why collecting water, firewood, and heavier burden for them. That's why women knew that the real value of forest was not the timber from a dead tree, but the springs and streams. Where have you heard this term, springs and streams? Maybe it is so relevant that they have kept your literature part as streams and grammar part as spring. Maybe these are the terms. Maybe these are the reasons, you know, how they try to advocate the importance of nature. So they knew that it's not from the timber, from the dead wood, but it is in the springs and stream. Because if the trees are not there, there is no stream, there is no spring, right? Food for their cattle, fuel for their earth. Earth is like the woven. Yeah. The women declared that they would hug the trees, and the loggers would have to kill them before killing the trees. This is the Chipko movement. This is how it all began. They couldn't like fight with them against the government, but it is the non-violent process, and it became it became so popular later days, and a lot of women started coming and joining the protest. It has become a huge gathering and huge successful during those days. So what they would do, they just go, all these women go and hug the trees, the trees which are targeted to be cut by these loggers, right? So that's what they would do. They would say, you cut me first before cutting the trees. That's how the movement started. And also a folk song of that period said, these beautiful oaks and rhododendrons, they give us cool water. Don't cut these trees. We have to keep them alive.